Hey guys, John with JRSP, Johnson Reality Self Protection, and now a newly certified instructor of the Medusa Edge weapon system, which we're going to be talking a lot about. I want to make this video quick because my camera's dying quick. But like I said in the prior video, we've taken the two systems that I created, Cyrdo and Jaquindo, and merged them together to create a system which we're just gonna call the JRSP system, the Johnson Reality Self Protection System. But we're gonna teach that, and we're gonna teach Medusa, but we're gonna not merge so much Medusa with the JRSP system because I feel Medusa should always be kept pure. If you understand what I'm saying, I want to be a Medusa purist. I want Medusa to always be Medusa for quality control purposes. I want it to be, I don't want it to be something that gets muddied down. Medusa should always be Medusa. It should always be the same foundation. It shouldn't be deviating from the course basically. So we're going to be talking a lot about Medusa pretty much indefinitely on this channel because I feel Medusa is one of the best self-defense systems out there. And when we talk about self-defense, that's basically what we're going to be talking about is Medusa. But when we talk about self-protection, we're going to be talking a lot about the JRSP system because like I've tried to say in other videos and stuff, self-protection and self-defense are two sides of the same coin, but they're different. Okay, I've been deep into the study of this stuff for years and years and years. Before I decided to launch this platform, I studied and studied and studied so many things over the years from different people and different systems, and so then I would know what I was talking about when I got to this day to launch my own system. So the difference between self-protection and self-defense is that self-defense ultimately is basically everything went wrong, okay? Because if you are a self-protection practitioner, you should have never really had to get to self-defense. Now, there are going to be those days where the sky was just blue that day and everything went wrong and it was out of your control, and that's why you're in that situation in self-defense now. But for the most part, since I've been a self-protection practitioner, I haven't hardly been in any violent encounter other than a couple years ago. It was back in 2020 or 2021, I think. I was down at my girlfriend's house, now wife, and a guy bowed up to me, and it put me in a situation where I had to basically not really just defend myself. I had to stand up for my honor in that case because that dude popped off, did something, and I had to let him know because sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. Always better just to walk away, but in some cases you're put into a situation where you can't just walk away without letting somebody know, hey, don't do that again, or bad things. The thing that we're getting at, we kind of went off course there, is that if you're a self-protection practitioner, you can see these things coming from miles away because that's what you train for. Situational awareness is what it is. Situational awareness, conflict de-escalation, conflict prevention. That's the difference between self-protection and self-defense. If you're a good self-protection practitioner, you understand that, well, if I play my cards right, I shouldn't have to be in any type of situation. If you're not a good self-protection practitioner, you're just a self-defense practitioner. A lot of these self-defense gurus and stuff only are training you for that time when you're having to go hands-on at that point, or you're having to do something to, de-escalate. You're in the situation, okay? But that's when Medusa comes in, okay? And that's going to be the difference. That's going to be the dividing factor, okay? Our self-protection is the JRSP system. Our self-defense is going to be the Medusa system. We're going to talk about the techniques we've already talked about. We went through the hammer techniques. We went through the thrusting palms. Next video, we're going to be talking about the power slaps, and you're always hitting with this part of the hand, okay? And this right here is going to be the first one that we're going to talk about, but that's for the next video. But like I always say, man, you got to have at least 4 things. I watch Law and Crime all the time. I watch all these YouTube channels where all these things went horribly wrong, where these women were horribly essayed, okay? And in a lot of the situations, women are gonna be the weaker individual. They're not gonna be able to outpower or outmuscle a man that outweighs them by 200 pounds. It's just not going to happen. They need something. And I always say, hey, you better have a knife, man. Like every woman needs to be carrying a knife. And that's where we get into the Medusa. If they're in a situation for self-defense, you better have a knife, man. You better know how to use it. But at the same time, having some type of good Yawara fist load, I would say that having a good Yawara and the knowledge and the know-how to use it could have prevented a lot of these situations that happened to a lot of these women where they didn't come home. They didn't survive it. But like my shoulder's kind of out of whack and I pulled something in my arm here. And so a lot of people don't talk about how, they only talk about hand-to-hand, like empty hand techniques. That's not what we're about at RSP or JRSP. We're about always having a weapon, always being armed, okay? Because, like, if you're always talking about empty hand tactics, you may not be 100% to execute those empty hand tactics efficiently. Like right now, like I say, like I'm hurt due to work, injured myself, but with some type of Yawara stick, I can still freaking mess somebody up who wants some. Like hitting him like full force. With this right here, it's got that point into the eyes, into the throat. A lot of people who talk about Yawara sticks and stuff, they don't talk about the abrasion techniques as well, where you're, abrading your adversary. That hurts right there. Like I struck here, and I didn't retract. When I struck here, I scraped down and then hit again. So we're gonna be talking a lot about that stuff. But hey guys, that's the video for today. Next video, we're gonna be talking about the 4 power slaps. Like I said, that's the first one right there. It looks a little strange, but let me tell you, it's effective. Hey guys, this is Ja with JRSP and now the Medusa Edge weapon system. Always remember, the world's a big place. All danger is very real, and it's better to be paranoid and alive than complacent and dead. And I'm not paranoid. I consider myself to be paranoid. And like I say, whenever you can, it's always just better to walk away.